Hello people, how you doing? It's August, you love it. Okay, so yeah, from last month I sort of started doing this release review thing, and last month we spoke about the first EP I ever released, which was Black Blanket EP, and this month we're going to be speaking about the second release that I ever had, which is called Take Me Back EP. Yeah, again, it's a 4-song EP, so we will go through all 4 of the songs. Yeah, so basically, yeah, so after I released Black Blanket, I put another 4 songs together, and we ended up with this. Yeah, so anyway, the first song we'll speak about is the title track of the EP, which is Take Me Back. Again, this is, in my eyes, one of the 10 best songs I've ever written. Yeah, but anyway, I'll give you a bit of background on the track itself. So basically, I used to live in a council estate in Kentish Town, and I had a close friend of mine called Barney, and basically he passed away sadly, and one day I was just sitting in what is now Chapman Studios looking out the window, and I can see across to where Barney used to live, and I was just looking that direction. Obviously, once my eyes scanned across where he used to live, it made me remember him and get a bit, you know what I mean. And I just sort of sat there and I thought about all the things that me, Barney, and every other child that grew up on the Ingestry Road estate, what we did as kids back in like the 80s, and yeah, we had some fantastic times, amazing times. And so I was sitting there and I had my acoustic guitar in my hand, which I do quite a lot. And I was just mucking around with some chords and that, and yeah, and Barney influenced me to write this song called Take Me Back, and it's basically about me remembering the good old days, and Barney being alive, and all of us on the estate being together, and just like reminiscing, and just, you know what I mean, and that influenced this song. So then I sat there and basically wrote this song in no time at all. It just fell out of the sky, as Noel Gallagher would say. And yeah, so basically all good. And yeah, so obviously when I recorded this, it was done with, I might have mentioned him in the past, but my first sort of album and 2 EPs was recorded with a fella called Marek Shearer, who was like an engineer, bit of a producer, and he lived in Tottenham, and I went over there and recorded this album. But Take Me Back came out, the recording came out fairly good, I think. That song, I mean. Well, this EP is actually quite good. It's got a couple of live versions on it, but yeah, we'll get to them. But yeah, have a listen to Take Me Back, and then I will speak in a minute. Nice one.
Take me back to where I used to be, where life was good to me, where we were young and free. Take me back to a lifetime before, could not have asked for more than that. Nothing seems to be the same anymore. Will life let us go that way? Take me back, take me back. Take me back, I need to see. Take me back, I wanna be. Take me back, I need to show all the love that's in my soul. Nothing seems to be the same anymore. Will life let us go that way? Take me back, take me back. Sitting round with nothing to say anymore. Will life let us go that way? Take me back, take me back.
Yes, and that was Take Me Back. Yeah, great tune. I love that song. I really love it. Yeah, and as I say, it's just like whenever I listen to it, Barney pops straight in my head, and all the stuff we used to get up to. Yeah. Okay, so alright, let's move on to the next tune. Alright, so the next one is She's Got the Moves. Now this is a song that I wrote a very long time ago, and it was just sitting in the old Chapman archive, and I didn't really do anything with it or whatever. And then when I was in a band with Richard Fox, he gave me a bass line that he wanted to write a song, and he gave me a bass line, and I recorded it at the rehearsal he was at, this bass line. And then I went home, and originally I was gonna just write something to it brand new or whatever, but I don't know, I just pulled that She's Got the Moves, and basically just adapted the vocal melody so it clicked with this song. And then basically that version is on an album that I have on iTunes and all that, called Double Double. So if you would like to go and check that version of this, well, it's not this tune, it's a different song, it's just the same lyrics basically. So basically I had that with them, and then this version of it that you're going to hear is a version of me singing it on my own in Chapman Studios. This is when I first put Chapman Studios together, and I basically just locked myself in the vocal booth very tightly with my guitar, mic'd up the guitar, like give myself a vocal mic and that, and just pressed record on the old Logic, and just stayed in the room, and just basically I recorded like 4 or 5 songs, and then this is the only one that I've ever used out of that, out of those recordings. So this is the original She's Got the Moves, my own way, you know what I mean, before I took the lyrics and put them over the bass line that Richard had done for me, which is also a very, very good song. I mean, Richard was a top bass player, and and at the time Jack Yetton was playing drums and Steve Smith on guitar, and I don't know if Steve Smith contributed to this song, not this version, this is all me, but I meant the future version, what I pulled the lyrics off of this for. Steve Smith could have had something to do with it, I don't know, I can't remember, it doesn't matter anyway, does it? So have a listen to this, and hope you enjoy. A nice one. Speak soon.
She's sweet like candy, or maybe her name is sugar. I'm telling you where I won't be, and that is far from her. And every time that I see her, the feeling's feeling fuller. Why can't I ever get there? Oh, never say never, never. 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 She's got the moves, and I'm telling you, she's got the moves, and she's showing you. Serve her warm like honey, and maybe you'll feel better. And I'm telling you where I won't be, and that is far from her. And every time that I see her, the feeling's feeling fuller. Why can't I ever get there? Oh, never say never, never. 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 She's got the moves, and I'm telling you, she's got the moves, and she's showing you. She's got the moves, she's showing you. She's got the moves, yes, she's showing you. She's got the moves, yeah, she's got the moves. She's got the moves, she's showing you.
Yes, and that was She's Got the Moves. And that song was actually the first ever song to be recorded at Chapman Studios. Now I know there's keys on there as well, and obviously I haven't got 40 hands, so the keys were overdubbed. They was done afterwards at the mixing desk. They was done on a MIDI keyboard. Just a little bit of niceness to add in there. Yes, that was She's Got the Moves. And next tune on the EP is a song called Burn. Now this song is exactly the same as She's Got the Moves, as in it was a song, the way you're going to hear it is the way I wrote it basically. And again, I actually done this 7 times. This was the latter part of the tally. Me, Jack, Richard, Steve, and even John Gibbons was in that mix, I think, after Jack left. Yeah, and basically this song again, Richard giving me bass lines and me taking them home. Do you know what I mean? I thought I was going to find it easier rather than take up our rehearsal time. I thought take the track home, write it at home, next rehearsal we're ready to go. And also the others would have took it home as well, and like obviously Steve would have worked out guitar parts, and Jack would have worked out drum parts, and I suppose we would have been like messaging each other or whatever, like saying what we're doing or whatever. But yeah, so basically the way you hear it is the way that I wrote it, and then again, if you go over to that album called Double Double, just put in John Chapman and then Double Double and it will come up, and on that there's I think there's 4 of the songs that I wrote with the Tally Boys, the latter Tally Boys, on there, and you can, like, obviously the other versions are like full band versions, and they're very different, and they're good, they're brilliant as well, you know what I mean, but this is me, my little acoustic, you know what I mean, recording in a vocal booth. Yeah, no, so I mean, yeah, so Burn, you can, well, let it mean to you whatever you want it to mean to you. I ain't gonna start telling you about all the tracks and this and that. I mean, obviously Black Blanket, About My Eyes, Take Me Back, influenced by Barney. They're 2 things that I can't not tell you, you know what I mean? Like, I'll have to tell you on those 2 songs, you know what I mean? I think Black Blanket's pretty obvious, and Take Me Back, you can understand what it's saying, you know what I mean? You just probably didn't have a name to put with anything, but you do now. His name was Barney. Yeah, so Burn, yeah, this is my version, and also this version that you're going to hear now, this is recorded live at the Dublin Castle in Camden. Yeah, I remember this night. I supported a band called The Smokes, who was like some other friends of ours that had a band or whatever, and that night I was planning just to go and watch them, you know what I mean, and then I can't remember who it was, maybe my brother was pretty in with all of them lot, you know what I mean, so why he didn't play, I don't know. I really, yeah, that's weird that they let me support him and not him, because yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know who asked me to come and to like support them at the Dublin Castle, but obviously I'm not going to say no to the Dublin Castle, you know what I mean, like. So basically I went down with my acoustic guitar and I got up first, and I played 10 songs actually, I think, in that set, but this is one of them 10, and yeah, it's a song called Burn. This is the original version. Go and check out Double Double. There's another version of Burn on there, full band version. Okay, nice one, sweet, have a listen.
She's got me down on my knees, begging me please, baby don't dare slow down. The friction you're causing when you're slamming those doors and allowing me to burn. Take me into the flames and let me burn. Take me into the flames and watch me burn. Do you still have the feeling? Do you still feel the touch? Is the feeling that's cold, or does it still burn? Take me into the flames and let me burn. Take me into the flames and watch me burn. Lady of pleasure, the burning flame. You bring me pleasure when you call my name. Take me into
Clappity, 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 clap. Yes, so that was Burn. Yeah, that's a good song too. I like Burn. Yeah. Okay, so last song on the EP is a tune called I Know Love. Now, when I think this happened in Black Blanket, it happened now, and I just didn't really know what to put on the thing. I didn't want to put a load of songs that have been written ages ago because it's like, you know what I mean, not writing nothing new. So I wrote I Know Love. Now, it's probably influenced by my wife because most of them lovey-dovey things are. But yeah, so I sat down and purposely wrote a song to go on, a B-side to go on this EP, and this is what I come up with. So what I'll do is I'll let you have a listen to I Know Love, and then I'll see if I can find a chap tale to stick on the end of this episode, and then we say goodbye. This is it's a lovely little tune, you know what I mean? Like, you can all tell me what you think in the comments underneath. Yeah. Don't be too horrible to me though, please. Alright, okay. Sweet. Let's have a listen to I Know Love, and then we will get on with a chap tale. Okay, nice one.
Biscuit taken from a tabletop. A crumb fell off, yeah, it got lost. A broken feeling split in two. I know what I'm feeling for you, 'cause I know love and I know love. Yeah, I know love and I know love and I know love. I know love and I know. A sinking ship on the deep blue sea, a floating barrel for you and me. 'Cause I know love and I know love. I know love and I know. There's a reason in believing in the word that is love. It's a feeling that has a meaning. Don't let your spirits drop. There's been times when I've needed the four-letter word that is love. When you find it pure and easy, you'll know the word I'm talking of. Mountain to climb without a road. I'll reach my hand out, not let you fall. 'Cause I know love and I know love. Yeah, I know love and I know. know love, and I know love. I know love, and I know.
Yes, nice. Okay, so that was I Know Love, and that was the Take Me Back EP. Tell me what you think about it, and if you like it, buy it. Get onto iTunes, download it, or even stream it if you have to. Alright, sweet. I am going to do you a little CHAP TALE, and then that is your lot for this month. And then next month we will look at my first album, which Take Me Back and Black Blanket are taken from, which is Little Green Street, and we will check that out next month. Nice one. Lovely, lovely, loo, loo, loo. Sweet.
Chat tales, don't you wanna hear some chat tales?
Hello, yes, and it is time for another CHAP TALE. We're completely not talking about music, but just a thought that came into my head, and I needed to tell you. All right, so when I was like 16, 17, me and my pals we was right into having scooters, you know, mopeds, whatever you want to call them, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking Vespers and Lambrettas. I'm talking more modern. I had a Gilera Runner. Friends of mine had Peugeot Speed Fights, all sorts of bikes, even a City Express. Anyway, there was one day, and there was like, I don't know, probably about 6-7 of us on our bikes, like around Ingester Road, where we all used to live and hang about. And so we're all sitting there, what should we do? So they said, all right, sweet, let's go down to Southend for the day. It was like, all right, sweet. So we all filled our bikes up with petrol and got everything we needed and that, and so we set off. And it was quite funny, like, because my friend Dean used to have this moped, or whatever you call it, scooter or whatever. It was a Peugeot, but it was a bike called a Zenith S, and it was this like little black and red thing he had. And like most of my pals at that time, I might have been a bit older than them, and that's why I had like a Gilera Runner 125. I was 17. I think most of them lot were all 16, so they were still on their 50cc bikes. But I can remember on the way down to Southend, like on whatever A road we was on or whatever, and Dean had recently had his bike de-restricted, which is something that everybody does, you know what I mean, just gets a little bit more out of them. But so we're flying down this A road, and Dean is just off like a whippet. He's just like, he's flying this little 50cc. He was a little fella, and the bike was, I don't know, his bike was just a lot faster than all the other 50cc bikes. So I had to keep whacking my throttle back and catching up with him and saying, Dean, like, can you slow down a bit, please, mate? Because you're already in Southend, and then like, I ain't even started. You know what I mean? But yeah, but the funny thing was, we got to Southend and we was driving around Southend a little bit, and then Dean's bike just conked out, and we was like, oh my God, he just burnt the life out of the engine or whatever, flying down there. So then that starts it off. So we're all there. Dean can't go anywhere, but so we've had to phone his brother Ian and basically say, Ian, can you bring your van to Southend and pick your brother up and his bike, because otherwise he ain't getting out of here, do you know what I mean? So we had to sit there for like over an hour waiting for Ian to turn up, like, and Ian eventually turns up with his little van, and basically they stick the bike in the back, Dean jumps in the front with him, and then they're off, you know what I mean? Like, and at the time we was umming and ahhing about should we just go home now? Should we just follow Ian back? Like, and then I don't know why, but some of us were like, no, let's have it. We're in Southend, let's have it. So we was like said goodbye to Dean and Ian, and just we was just like flying about Southend. You know what I mean? You get all the people down there with their silly cars and that. Well, I'm saying silly. When I was 17, 18, I was exactly the same with my motors. But yeah, there's just silly cars, isn't there? At the end of the day, like, and you know what I mean, doing Citroen Saxos up to be some stooped up little car. You know what I mean? It ain't nothing. What's a Citroen Saxo at the end of the day? You know what I mean? But when you're that age, you just love it. So anyway, we spent the day down there doing this, doing that, driving around on our bikes, eating fish and chips, whatever. So, and then when it came, it was in the evening, quite late, and we was like, right, let's go home now. Like, so on my bike, my petrol gauge must have been broken, yeah, because we're at a petrol station, everybody's filling up. There was I can't even remember who there was. There was me, James Gummer, Paul Hanyans, Darren Mills, Dean's already gone home, and that might have been it, you know, just the four of us. So we're at this petrol station, and all three of them have filled up, and I'm looking at my gauge, and I'm like, still got a full tank of fuel. Like, I should. Well, it's a bit stupid to think that I can drive around on 125cc two-stroke and not burn any fuel. You know what I mean? Throughout the day, I should. Silly me. Anyway, so they filled up, and then boom, we're on the A road, and we're on our way home. Now, I'm not even sure what way we came into London, but for some mad reason, we just ended up in Holborn. Don't ask me how or why, but we was in Holborn. And then, boom, my bike starts coughing and spluttering, and then, boom, it stops. And we're like, everyone stopped, and we're like, fuck. And then we realised that it has to be the fuel situation. Do you know what I mean? I straight away knew that I should have filled up when them not filled up. But we was like, what are we going to do? Like, and all that. And James and Paul said, don't worry, we'll go and find the petrol station and fill up some Coke bottles of fuel and bring it back to you. Like, and I said, oh, sweet, all right. I said, they're probably going to make you buy a jerry can, because I don't think they're going to let you put fuel into Coke bottles. But, all right. And Darren, staunch as anything, he's like, oh, don't worry, Chapman, I'll wait with you, mate. And I was like, nice one, Darren, cheers, mate. Top fella. No, but so anyway, James and Paul have gone off to get me fuel, supposedly, and me and Darren are sitting there, like, and while we're sitting there, it's so funny because we're sitting there like on mopeds, both of us, yeah, and then a police van's gone past, and they're just all looking at us, and that's it. They start to come over, and they're like, right, what's going on, and all this, like, and we're like trying to tell them that I've run out of fuel or whatever, and Darren's saying that he's just waiting with me, like, until the others get back with fuel for us or whatever. And he's like, all right. But we had to like show our insurance details and all that stuff that they asked for. Anyway, they was happy in the end, so they drove off and left us. Anyway, we're sitting there, and we must have been there an hour and a half by this time, and we're just like, they're not coming back, man. And then Darren's like with me, like, and his bike's full of fuel. He could have just drove off and gone home, you know what I mean, right? But he's like, I said to him, I'm gonna have to push my bike to the nearest petrol station, you know what I mean? So I think there was a so-called Texaco garage in Clerkenwell Road, which weren't far from where it weren't close, but it weren't far, you know what I mean? Pushing a moped, it was quite far, but I'll tell you what, right? I've had to push my bike to this thing, and it's taken about 45 minutes, yeah? And Darren, even though he's full of fuel in his car, he's walking next to me, pushing his bike along, yeah? Unbelievable, top fella. Do you know what I mean? What can I say? He didn't want to leave me on my own, like, whatever. He stuck with me and pushed his bike all the way to this petrol station. And then basically I filled up my bike with fuel. I think he might have even had a top up as well. and then I've hit the electric start, and after a second of we had life in the old bike. So I mean, it was mental. We jumped on our bikes and we drove home. Darren was living in Burley Road, so we get to Burley Road before we hit Ingester, you know what I mean? So he's like, I've stopped there with him, had a chat with him from it, thanked him, you know what I mean? Didn't have to do that, Darren, but that was seriously, take my hat off all day long to you. Thank you, mate. Top fella. So yeah, I left him in Burley Road, and then I've sort of like drove round to Ingester, gone through Ingester, and then gone up the Ambrook Hill to where my ramp was, because I used to take my bike up onto the balcony. There's no leaving bikes downstairs, you know what I mean? Be there 5 seconds. And it's funny because like as I was going up my ramp, I looked down and to where James used to park his bike, like, and it's like his bike was there, chained to the fence. He's indoors. Paul Hanyon didn't live around in Gester, so he's gone home, whatever. But do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just there, like, this is good. A good couple of hours later or whatever, and I was thinking, oh. So anyway, went home, parked the bike up outside mine, stuck about 1 million locks on it because you have to, especially in London. And then. Yeah, the next day after, when I woke up or whatever, I went downstairs, like, I think it was the Sunday or whatever, and just like everyone's out and chatting and that, and James was there, and I was like, James, what's happening, bruv? You know what I mean? We had no calls, no nothing, you know what I mean? You didn't tell us that you couldn't get fuel or whatever. And he apologised and said that they couldn't find a petrol station and like whatever, do you know what I mean? But they didn't come back, so what can you say, you know what I mean? Life's life, innit? But the old moral of this story is, cheers Darren Mills. I'm telling you what, mate, I'll never forget that my whole life, you know what I mean? That was absolutely amazing. You're a geezer. Yeah, so alright, so that was a little bit of a different chap tale this time, but yeah, sweet. Hope you've enjoyed that little one, and I will chat to you soon, baby. Mwah.
Chat tales, don't you wanna hear some chat tales?